There is this notion that the Supreme Court reiterated back in July in that big immunity case that when we have an issue like presidential immunity, that that gets resolved before lower court proceedings go forward. And Donald Trump is saying, at a minimum, let's put the lower court proceeding, namely my sentencing, on hold while appeals courts consider this immunity question that I'm arguing. And if that's what the Supreme Court does, that almost certainly means Donald Trump won't be sentenced anytime over the next 4 years.
So does that mean that it picks it back up, sentencing picks back up, like come 4 years later?
I haven't thought it quite that far along, but it would certainly derail it in a major way. There's also the substantive arguments that Donald Trump is making, which is that putting aside the timing of the sentence, that I am immune from these charges. Now, these are charges stemming from hush money payments he made to Stormy Daniels, and he was convicted of 34 counts of hiding what he was doing. And what Donald Trump says is that a lot of the evidence, or at least some of the evidence that prosecutors used, involved my official acts as president, things that I was saying on, say, my official Twitter account, where I'm communicating about matters of public concern. So what Donald Trump is hoping to do is basically halt the sentencing right now and then ultimately win a ruling on that immunity question, which would essentially knock out the charges.
What's the smart betting money thinking here? Which way will the court go?
I'm not going to bet on this one. This is, of course,
I could go to DraftKings or some betting site today. I'm sure I can get odds.
Probably.
This is a court, of course, that ruled for him in a very big way in July when it derailed the case that accused him of trying to overturn his 2020 election loss. The court conferred very sweeping immunity on presidents there in a 6-3 ruling. And importantly, in that ruling, they said you can't even use official acts as evidence of things that a president might have done outside his official capacity. So with that as a backdrop, Trump certainly has a Supreme Court that's going to be very receptive to what he's arguing here.
Just one more quickie before you go. If he is sentenced, what does that actually look like when he then becomes president? Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, one thing it will not mean for sure is prison time. That is something that Judge Merchan has ruled out. So there's not that. It will involve, a certain amount of continuing process, no doubt. Undoubtedly, Judge Merchan and appeals courts, if it goes beyond that, would be sensitive to the notion that this is not an ordinary defendant, even though he would be a convicted felon, and that the president does have duties, and will try to find ways to limit the intrusion on the presidential duties.